Welcome, friends, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a podcast created by fans for the fans, and we appreciate you listening to episode 113. I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Booker Andy.
And I'm also your host, the No Sun Wrestling Indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
And that's it today. It's just me and Jeremy. Tim
Once
is
again.
yeah. Well, we got 1 week of all three of us together, and now it's two. Tim thought he might make it on tonight, but he is I believe he's getting his car work on, so it's just better to just have us two than him try to rush it or push it off later. So that being said, today we are going to talk about Raw Day 1. We're going to be discussing the Undisputed Kingdom, and we're going to be talking about New Year's Revolution from Smackdown this week and more. Before we get started, please follow us on all social medias at the PW Fan. Was there anything, Jeremy, that we should address before?
Yeah, I actually had, I think, two things.
I think I wanted to write something down and I forgot to.
Yeah, well, I had two things that I know, like last week that, or three things probably, just like a few mentions, I think, that we don't have to go too much into it. But one is, I think it was New Year's Day, is that AEW turned 5, so they've been around for 5 years.
Wow.
It seems like a lot longer than that already, but
it does.
And then also, probably the bigger thing is Kevin Dunn left WWE, which we didn't really talk about last time. And he's been the producer there.
He wanted to be released, I believe.
Yeah, so he was basically a Vince guy. Like, he was the one why there's like 20 different camera cuts within like a minute.
And I think I read that he, once Triple H came into like kind of creative power, I think basically his ideas weren't taken as much as like when Vince was in charge.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like, I don't know, he had less input, I guess is the right way to put it.
And he went from being like Vince's right-hand guy to just a producer who no one listens to now.
There's also a couple things. Oh, Wrestle Kingdom happened.
Yeah.
Right? Dolph Ziggler made his NJPW debut, and he didn't have a match, but he wasn't. So his new gimmick is called the Wanted Man.
And what's his actual name? Like, it's for his real name, right? That he goes by?
I assume it's Nick Nemeth.
Yeah.
Which, when he was in Spirit Squad, he was Nicky.
Yeah, that's right.
He has a sight set on David Finlay, who just won. Was it the Junior Heavyweight Championship?
Okay, so that was the match with Ospreay and Moxley, right?
That I don't know.
I think that was the match because he was in the triple threat with those two, but he ended up winning.
Oh, he was? And he won it?
Yeah, well, because like Ospreay's leaving New Japan, and then Moxley's not going to win it.
And then Bryan Danielson lost to Okada, but he had won at Forbidden Door. So, what do you think, Okada, Danielson at All In 3?
I think that'd be really cool to see.
Do you think that's how Danielson retires? He said he has like a year left. And that would bring you around to.
I mean, maybe like retires as in like full time run, because I think he said he would do like here and there
or
matches.
like a full time superstar.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets that Brock schedule. Maybe he does the Undertaker schedule.
He does like the big four or whatever AEW is.
And then something else that's going around is about Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
I think the word is that she's going more towards AEW, I believe, right now.
Yeah, there's been like reports saying that she's like signed with AEW already, and it's just a matter of time. I don't know though, because remember when Punk was going to WWE, they were like, I don't know, it's not going to look like it anymore, and they showed up.
And then with that being said, though, in the same talk, at least they used to be, Naomi, I believe, is possibly on her way back to WWE.
She's finishing up with the other news I was going to mention, that TNA is back, who she's leaving TNA, going to WWE, because they officially rebranded back to TNA this past
And they got some new belts that have the TNA logo on it.
Do you see the belts though? I think they look pretty nice.
Look better than some of the AEW belts, in my opinion. But
you probably do, yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it outside of the TV shows. So let's get right into the bread and butter of our show, which is starting with Raw. Last year, I believe day one was a pay-per-view, as it has been a few years, but this week it was just a special Raw episode. So to start off Raw, day one, we had Nia Jax against Becky Lynch, who she ended up defeating, which I was surprised for. But unless they want to keep Nia Jax as like a unstoppable force kind of thing.
Also busted up Becky again.
Yeah, she busted her open again. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, or if
it didn't look like it.
Yeah. Then we had a little bit later, Cody Rhodes made his way out to the crowd, to the ring, big fireworks, all that jazz. He spoke about wanting his feud with Shinsuke to be behind him, but Nakamura just kept coming at him. We got another video pop up on the Titantron of Nakamura cutting a promo in Japanese, and he said their story
work really well for him.
I think so. I think they finally have something that's working right at the moment for him.
Yeah.
And he said their story will end next week on Raw, which, as we're recording, is tonight.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to talk about how Raw opened up this week, next week. So
intense opening.
Yes. Well, speaking of, the next thing on the list it was announced that CM Punk returns to Raw next week, which is tonight. So that's what we were doing. He actually opened up the show tonight, so we'll talk about that next week. We didn't have to wait very long to hear from him. I guess you could say Drew opened up the show and then he came out, but it was like 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this tag team match: Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston versus Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. Giovanni got hurt legitimately during it.
Yeah.
The ref threw up the X. And it was during so Giovanni Vinci, I believe, if I remember, jumped off the turnbuckle, and Kofi Kingston stopped him mid-air with a drop kick. And I don't know if the injury was from the kick, but when he came down, it looked like he smacked his head. So I don't know if it was if it was like concussion, but you can see them kind of scrambling. The ref, they don't ever like throw up the X's like for planned injury angles, because then that would be confusion with doctors. They only throw up the X if it's, and they did it, and they stopped the match early. I believe Gunther, made a statement like last week or the week before, I think 2 weeks ago, basically that he was going away for a little bit, probably to the Rumble.
I think good for him.
I think so. So it's just, I forget what he said to Imperium, but it seemed like a punishment that he was, going away for them.
Yeah. They did handle that pretty well, I thought, in terms of like concussion, because it definitely looked like the ref kind of.
Well, there's another company that doesn't seem to stop things right away, and that ref saw that right away.
Well, you see the ref's face though when he like looked at, he like did a double take, and he was like, "Oh," he was like, "All right, never mind." We're not doing this.
And so I think he went up to Vinci like right away and asked, because the doctor came in and they stopped the match.
The courts ref would have been like, "You're good. Keep going.
Are you good?" It wasn't that bad. We had a Miz TV segment with R-Truth. Lately, R-Truth has been hilarious.
Yeah.
But Miz was wearing wrestling gear during this. He tried to bring out Judgment Day, but R-Truth ended up coming out instead. After a while, JDM Dominic came out and told Truth that he wasn't in the group.
Do you remember when Miz and R-Truth were an actual tag team?
Yeah, because yes, and then I think they referenced it though. I think Miz said, he referenced Lil Jimmy during this, but I think what were they called? The Miz Truth, or
I forget, but I remember
he said their name.
They were like one of the top tag teams when they were together. It was like I have no idea how it happened still, but it was actually pretty cool.
But they challenged them to a match, and Truth was like doing a wink, like, all right, like almost like it was a test to team with Miz. There was a little confusion from his character. But Miz and R-Truth ended up defeating JD and Dom. So I don't really know where they're going with it, but the stuff with R-Truth has been entertaining lately.
Yeah.
We had, I don't think it's her first, it might be her first singles match on the main roster, but Ivy Nile, Rhea Ripley retained her title against Ivy Nile. Did you watch this match? What you think of it? I thought it was all right. I thought, I mean, the size difference is crazy between the two.
Yeah, I thought
Rhea Ripley towers over her.
I always like how that makes it better. Like this, especially when we have a total different size difference. But yeah, I think Rhea, is like getting so much. Is so much better than even just like a year ago.
Oh yeah,
like she carries every.
I think she's confident in herself too. I'd assume.
Yeah.
But Ivy Nile's like Chad Gable. They're short, but like they're super weirdly strong.
Yeah,
and they can do stuff like
she has a build where she's like just like straight muscle.
Mm-hmm.
But also did you see they did the what do you call it? What awards for wrestlers, like like they do like promoter of the year.
Yeah.
Female wrestler of the year. Rhea came in second actually.
Who came in first?
Athena, which
I did see that.
We don't really watch Ring of Honor, or like I don't know, a lot of people don't, but so we don't know. But I'm sure she did do really well, and like she made herself a new.
Didn't LA Knight win like breakout star?
Yeah,
yeah.
And Prince Nana won like
Punk won best return.
Yeah,
return of the year.
Yeah, you gotta win it for like multiple things.
Yeah,
and both
people hate that. All right, I almost forgot about this. Next thing that I'm going to talk about, and then I saw it, I was like, oh, this is like the biggest thing that happened all week.
I almost forgot this happened on Raw.
Yeah. So Triple H had been teasing that a former WWE champion would return or come out. And when they announced it, out comes Jinder Mahal, who, I mean, it's easy. It's an easy heel promo, but basically talking shit on America. And
I didn't like that angle of it.
No, it's very Vincey.
Yeah.
So he was trash talking America, and then the Rock's music hit, man, and this place exploded. Huge pop. Typical Rock segment, though. He said his lines, crowd pop, insulted Jinder. He sang a song, I believe. Jinder would attack him. Rock ended up getting the upper hand and hitting a spine buster, followed by people's elbow. But as the thing that everyone's talking about, as things were wrapping up,
I thought this was weird at first. I was like, what is he doing right now?
Yeah, I was like, what is he talking about? So they're in San Diego, and he says, San Diego, like, I'm hungry. He said, after this, I'm going to go get some food. When I go get some food, should I sit at a table or sit at a booth? Should I sit at the bar? And in between these, he paused, let the crowd react. And then he got serious for a second, said, or should The Rock sit at the head of the table? In this crowd, I mean, I feel like the crowd should have popped way more than they did.
Yeah.
But maybe it just took them a second to realize it. But
I wasn't even expecting it, though.
But dude, when they said that, like, I rewound. I called Tim, who wasn't watching it. He was like, no way. This is like the first time on TV that The Rock has said anything like this. He's like mentioned things here and there in an interview. But look, Triple H, I don't think, like 99% sure, is not going to let or have The Rock say this and tease it without it coming to fruition.
Oh, they wouldn't have done this if they didn't have a plan already.
It's to build, because things were mentioned on SmackDown about it too. So, dude, now.
Yeah, this is the question. So,
the question is, there's a couple questions. All right, so I saw some tweets, and I mean, I could say the person, but many people are saying it over the internet. So, this one person said, I've said for months, I'll just say it, At Ben Allison WR, he said, I've said for months that Roman won't lose the championship before the new TV deals. Doing Reigns and Rock at Mania, then Reigns and Gunther in Berlin, and Reigns and Sikoa at SummerSlam. Reigns and Gunther in Berlin with Gunther, that would be big. Reigns and Sikoa at SummerSlam before having Reigns lose to Cody at next year's Survivor Series makes more sense from a business standpoint. And then you could go into that, be like, do they just, because if you do that, you have him break Hogan's record. And that's like kind of the last record to like really break. And then another person, same guy, also tweeted, in the eyes of some TKO investors, Cody will seem unproven and too much of a risk to be the face of the new TV deals. Plus, WWE doesn't permanently own his intellectual property, which doesn't help his case. A couple months into the TV deals, parentheses, Survivor Series 24, Rumble 25, will be a safer time. So,
Cody's never going to finish a story.
You could so you could have that and have it be Rock at Mania, and if you do that, obviously that headline. I mean, I saw something. It was like, I think it was Bubba Ray Dudley on his one podcast he does, and there was a couple of people. I think Mickey James was on it as well, and someone else. Is this Rock and Roman main eventing night 2 at Mania? Is this the biggest match of all time?
Of all time? I don't know. That's a tough question. I would say no, only because.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's bigger than Rock and Hogan.
You think?
What's the biggest match of all time to you? Don't you dare say Rock versus Roman combining the championships.
No.
As Vince booked
Rock versus Roman 10, you mean? Oh. I didn't. Well, I don't even know anymore. I mean, I guess it could be.
Cena and Rock might be the only other one that is.
See, my only thing is because of Rock's age and like how he is right now. Like, he's not going to be the same as in like obviously when he wrestled. But I know that really doesn't matter now.
This is one, I gotta say, Roman versus Rock has to be Rock's retirement match.
Yeah, it definitely does.
I'm pretty sure, right? He wants to run for president now. Like, this is actually a thing that's getting traction. I think it's actually a thing that's getting traction. If that's the case, he's going to be busy. And then what? The next time he might get a chance to wrestle is after presidency. If he gets elected.
President wrestling.
Yeah, it's like the president was injured today.
At WrestleMania.
God. And by then, some fans, because you're bringing politics then into wrestling, might not even like it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it could be the biggest match of all time. Roman's already proved nowadays to be the biggest box office draw.
That's true, yeah.
And then you have The Rock on top of it. You bring in casual fans as well.
That's an easy, huge match. But also, weren't we saying like they were going to do it at elimination chamber because it's in Australia?
That's the other thing. Or, well, okay. Before we get to that, if Rock and Roman happens at WrestleMania, who does Cody face? Randy?
I guess Randy. Like, well, I mean, Randy. That's a good story though.
It's an easy story to tell.
Mentor.
Yeah, it's an easy story to tell.
That's still a good match.
And Cody waits a whole another year tops.
Yeah, it just feels disappointing for Cody.
Or
I mean, either way, we wouldn't get to see it then.
The other thing people are talking about is Elimination Chamber, which is before WrestleMania, and it's in Perth, Australia. The stadium holds about 60,000 people. That's a Mania right there.
It's huge, yeah.
Do you do Roman and Rock then, and then Cody and Roman at Mania? Or what I said though, and no one's talking about it, Booker Andy, you do Cody and Roman at Elimination Chamber, and that's when Cody wins it due to The Rock costing Roman. And then the main event of Mania is not a title match. It's just The Rock versus Roman Reigns, head of the table.
Right.
Tribal by combat or whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah, right.
With the bloodline.
Yeah, for the head of the table. Yeah,
there's a couple possibilities, man, and I'm kind of like fine with them all.
I feel like
I think people just feel bad for Cody. I think that's what it.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, already because he has to wait this
the
whole year.
memes are crazy. You want to talk about the memes are crazy. People put Cody's face on Punk when he's sitting down for the pipe bomb promo. They're like, Cody this Monday on Raw.
That was so funny. I just feel like they're gonna have the title for that match either way for Roman and Rock. So
and then Roman goes over.
Yeah, but I feel like it happens. It could happen like Elimination Chamber. Rock loses because of like interference again, and then at WrestleMania they try to interfere, but The Rock comes out, helps Cody, and Cody wins.
Booker Jeremy. This would be like Roman's like 10th headline of WrestleMania.
I know, that's insane.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that go into it, and I think the guy's tweets I was reading, though, it is a business. When you got things like TV deals, you want to secure them. Now, I did read today, Amazon Prime could be another home.
I never actually thought about that.
Which is weird, because then you have a streaming service for pay-per-views, Peacock, or is that contract up? And then you have their television deal, be Prime.
Yeah, when that
because Prime does live TV now sometimes, and
yeah, because USA is with NBC.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. So yeah, this was a huge moment. Everyone's talking about it. I think The Rock again. I think he broke the internet with most views when he came back a few months ago with the Pat McAfee stuff.
And he did it again.
And I think he did it again.
That's wild.
So let's move forward, though. The main event was Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Drew's like 10th time going for the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest attempts to cash in at the end of the match. Drew prevents it and takes out Damian and Dom. And Rollins retains after a pedigree on the table and then a stomp to Drew. Everyone online or on Instagram I saw are like, you're ruining Drew, or Drew deserves better, or look, man, like, you get Drew the championship, you don't really get Seth and Punk for the championship at Mania.
Yeah, no one expected Drew to win this.
No, I didn't. On TV? I
know. Yeah.
No.
I don't know, but there is the thing about Drew and WWE with the contract talks that you see that he still hasn't signed anything. I don't know how close they are, but it's just interesting that I don't know when it's coming up. Like probably pretty soon this year.
Well, I assume if he leaves, he goes back to Drew Galloway as his name.
Yeah, either names are good for him. McIntyre and Galloway.
I think Galloway's his real name.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh, it's a good,
could be wrong.
Real name.
Jamie, look it up. I think it is. Actually, I am.
Because that's what he used over in England and everything when he
Drew McIntyre. Scottish. Yep, his name is Andrew McLean Galloway the Fourth.
The Fourth.
The Fourth. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Anything to add to Raw though? Let's get into Dynamite.
Nothing. That was pretty good.
We open up with a backstage promo from Samoa Joe. I believe it took place after the pay-per-view. Then the big segment from the night, which was the official first segment. Adam Cole's music hit and a shit ton of pyro, which I feel like might have gone off early, and it should have gone off when it changed music, because then it changed to a song we haven't heard, and the Titantron said Undisputed, and there was a drawing of a crown behind it, and we got introduced to Adam Cole and his faction now is called the Undisputed Kingdom. I'm a fan that they keep keeping the word undisputed in.
You see so many people are just hating on that. They're just copying NXT and everything and all this stuff. And I'm like, Adam
he was with the Elite, wasn't he? Like that Undisputed Elite, and
yeah, he carried like Ring of Honor feuds into NXT. He carries everything wherever he goes, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. So Adam Cole came out, led the newly titled Undisputed Kingdom to the ring, and he explained his actions at the pay-per-view and basically saying that he's not the bad guy. Generic reason of needing to loosen MJF's grip on AEW. He then laid out the next few months of television by pointing out what Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Wardlow, and Roderick Strong will be targeting. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett already have the ROH tag titles. He said Roderick Strong is going to be going for the TNT Championship, and then Wardlow will go for Samoa Joe. And when Adam Cole is ready, Wardlow will
give it to him.
He said the opposite of reluctantly, willingly, I guess.
Yeah,
give him the
Wardlow's
championship.
Face was like, okay.
And he was like, we'll see, basically.
Yeah.
Adam Cole issued a warning to Joe and was about to leave the ring until Jay White came out and interrupted. And Jay White, I think, was one of the first people that the masked men ended up taking out.
Yeah.
So then the Guns, Bullet Club Gold end up attacking along with Jay White. And then I don't know if they were outnumbered. I think they were maybe outnumbered.
Yeah, because Wardlow came back in because he helped Cole out.
But then the Acclaimed end up running out, who obviously have feuded with Bullet Club Gold in the past, but they also have been attacked by the Masked Men. And this is their return, I think, from the attack.
Yeah.
So, enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation.
Yeah. It is nice to continue that.
Yeah. I like this segment. I like to see where we're going. I don't think MJF's actually gone.
No, they talked about him that much. I don't think so. When people are actually gone, they don't talk about them on TV anymore.
Yeah, they don't talk about Punk at all.
Just I was gonna say they talk about Punk.
They still talk about Cody Rhodes. He was brought up this week.
I know.
Ricky Starks brought him up, I think.
Yeah. Which Ricky Starks was actually training, I think, in the, what do they call it? The Dragon?
Nightmare Factory?
It was with the Hearts, which is where Natalie was, and then also some
dungeon
people. Yeah.
The Heart Dungeon or whatever?
Yeah.
After that, Orange Cassidy would retain his international championship against Dante Martin. And after this match, Private Party would return in full back to their old selves, no longer with the Hardys.
It was kind of nice to see that, actually. I was like, thank God they're not with the Hardys anymore.
Yeah. Well, Jeff had a botch on Rampage.
God.
Yeah, I saw that. God.
It just made it look so bad.
Yeah. He went to go off Matt's back and just like, it was supposed to be a splash and he just fucking face to like belly.
It looked so funny too because he was like, as he like landed.
Mariah May would win her in-ring debut against Queen Aminata, her in-ring debut on AEW. She looked pretty good.
Yeah.
She looks like she's well trained, but that was her win was short-lived when Deonna Purrazzo comes out and it is announced that she is all elite and she has Toni Storm in her sights. I like Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, I like her too. The nice thing to see is this was like the 9 o'clock hour, or the 9 o'clock time slot, which is usually like one of the main ones. So it was nice to see, like, they did say, AEW did say they're going to try to like Tony Khan said they're going to focus on women's wrestling this year.
Okay.
So that's a good start. And also, like, I thought it was funny, Maria May, the interview
Mariah May.
That's Maria? Oh, Mariah. My bad. She said, she's like, I need a re-debut because someone took my debut spot and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that'd be really funny if they keep doing that as a gimmick and they keep debuting people at the same time as like her match. Like Mercedes comes out next week after her match and steals the spotlight again.
I think if Mercedes is going to come back, though, it's going to be a pay-per-view. She's one of those people that's like,
yeah,
fucking spotlight on me.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, she got paid apparently from someone.
Yeah. And apparently the amount that she wants is crazy, but
yeah.
So we hear. We had a segment with the patriarch of AEW, Christian Cage. He led a State of the Union address following his TNT Championship victory. I guess you can call it a victory against Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
His loss, then victory.
Yeah.
Fans were chanting, it kind of drowned out Christian's words. They were chanting Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
Which you could say is a testament to how Tony Khan's been handling him. It's only a matter of time before he turns on Christian, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Shayna Wayne again was perfectly fine on the mic for the limited mic work that she's done and the limited. If you put her in a short mic segment, she seems to do fine.
Yeah, she's not a bad heel, like manager almost.
No. Christian would end up calling, or one of his quotes was, God, he's so good. He said, "The apple of my eye, my son, Nick Wayne." So it's only a matter of time. Like I said, when I guess we'll call him Kill Switch for the time being.
Yeah.
And to see what Adam Copeland does, but Adam Copeland had a segment this week on Collision, which we'll talk about. After that, we had a fatal 4-way for the Continental Crown Championship. Is it called the Continental Crown when they put up all three when he puts up all three titles?
I'm not really sure.
I think that's what happened, or what was said on Collision when Eddie Kingston did do it. He said,
"So is it every time he has a match that all three of them are up?"
If it's a Continental Crown Championship, I don't know what maybe it's just called the Continental Championship when it's not with the other three. I don't know, man.
I think so.
It's kind of confusing. Yeah. So it was a fatal 4-way for number one contender at Eddie Kingston, Brian Cage v. Kingo, Brian Keith, and Trent Beretta. And actually, Trent Beretta was the one I was assuming was going to win, which he was. So they are scheduled to have a match on Collision, which we will talk about. And then I believe the main event was Swerve Strickland versus Daniel Garcia. And both, great guys. Great conclusion to the show, I thought. Though I defined the rest of it online because I think it went over, if I'm not mistaken.
It did. They went over about 5 or almost 10 minutes, I think.
So Swerve ended up beating Garcia. And they've been booking Garcia lately correctly. I feel like they're not messing it up so far.
Yeah.
After the match, though, Strickland and Prince Nana attacked Garcia before Adam Page hit the ring. Came face to face with Swerve before a brawl between the two broke out, and of course had to be pulled apart by referees and security.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I'll say. I mean, I thought the Undisputed Kingdom segment was my favorite. I'm really excited to see what they do.
I think this was a good, fresh. It felt more fresh for AEW for this Dynamite for the new year.
New year, new AEW. Let's fingers crossed, man.
Yeah. New feuds and everything. Nothing like last year.
Yes,
but I will say, the funniest part about this match, the Swerve and Garcia match, when he was trying to do that sharpshooter on the commentator's table, and then Swerve kind of he was going off table, and then he took Garcia down with him. I thought it was just funny because he was they're trying to do this cool spot, and they just fall down together.
Yeah, they tipped over to the side, didn't they?
Yeah,
I forgot about that. All right, SmackDown and New Year's Revolution. So it was big. It was a big WWE week, I'd say.
Yeah.
So started off first match of the night. Kevin Owens earns his Royal Rumble match against Logan Paul for the U.S. title by defeating Santos Escobar. This was the end of the United States tournament, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think Booker Andy called it from the beginning. I want to say I did.
I'll have to go back and check the tapes.
I think I called Kevin Owens winning. Logan Paul would end up getting in the ring, though, and cut a promo against Kevin Owens. I will say Logan Paul was also in commentary during the match.
Yeah.
But Kevin Owens would end up. Kevin Owens, I should say before this, is wearing his cast from the quote unquote injury
on his wrist or hand.
Yeah, or brace cast, whatever you want to call it, and he ends up knocking out Logan Paul after Logan tries to attack him.
Yeah, using the cast.
Yeah. Then let's talk about this Hurt Business segment. I know maybe they were originally supposed to be heels, but look at the crowd reaction. Fans are treating them like baby faces.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley is like, ever since, God, I guess a few years ago, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, Bobby, when he first created the Hurt Business, fans finally were like, we like Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Ever since the original Hurt Business, it was like, oh, this is the role he should be in.
Right.
By himself and with MVP, just no. But when I know MVP was part of the first original Hurt Business, but people like this version of Bobby when he's in charge of a group like this.
Yeah.
So the Hurt Business, they would cut a promo, and kind of generic promo. He had Bobby admitted that 2023 was frustrating because the work he did didn't net the results he wanted, and that the highlight of it was getting together with the Street Profits. But it wasn't long until we got a little quick cryptic video flashing Karrion Kross, and then Karrion Kross would walk out with Scarlett, who has now dyed her hair brown, and Paul Elrig would be with him. Yeah. And when Paul Elrig is out there, what does that mean? Well, AOP came up from behind and attacked the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. Karrion Kross would get into the brawl as well. So yes, we talked about it. I think they've been signed for months, maybe a whole year at this point.
That's crazy.
To finally allow them on TV. But we mentioned last week that Karrion Kross had a video that he teased what I thought was Authors of Pain. And I think this fits, man. I think Karrion Kross might find, something that brings him back to like how he was or looked at in NXT.
Yeah, but also like Karrion Kross, he has a good look. He always has a good look, and maybe a good promo. But like his ring work, I don't know. It's just something about it. I find it boring.
No, I do too. I remember in NXT, I was like, I love this guy's entrance. This is when he was bald in NXT.
Yeah,
I love this guy's entrance. I like he's like kind of sinister and stuff, and then you watch him and you're just like, ah.
And you're like, I don't care
wrestling
anymore.
Ciampa, and Ciampa is like running circles around you, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I don't know. So maybe this works. I think it was a little while ago, Tim out of nowhere on the pod was like, whatever happened to those guys? Like, I was like, Authors of Pain? And so Tim's a fan. I was a fan of them. I think Vince booked them horribly once they came up to the roster.
Yeah.
But in NXT Black and Gold, Triple H booked them right. Let's hope he books them right again.
Vince tried to put like mask on them and like things when they got up to the main roster.
Yeah, and then I think he linked them up with Samoa Joe really quick.
Yeah,
Kevin Owens feud
because they both have the same build. I was like, okay, Vince.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like them a lot.
So after that, we had a women's title match. Io Sky retaining against Mia Yim. Mia Yim actually got some TV time.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good showing for her. This match was actually good.
I like her. I usually like her.
I'm not saying Mia Yim or Michin, I don't even know what to call her anymore, is bad, but she's never given enough time to where you can figure out if she's good or not. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
But yes, Io Sky retained, and it was a good showing for Mia Yim, is what I wrote down. But backstage afterwards, Bianca Belair interrupts Damage Control backstage and declares herself for the Rumble. She might be the first woman to declare herself.
I was going to say, I think she is.
Yeah.
And also, I think I saw something about WWE having almost like 40 active women wrestlers right now. Like, if they're almost at that point.
Doesn't seem like it, but all right.
I know.
Oh, I guess they combine across NXT as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. Pete Dunne Had a mystery partner this week against Pretty Deadly.
Pete Dunne.
Well, I'm going to call him Pete Dunne. It's still Butch. Butch is on its way out, man. Butch is on his way out.
I like how you wrote in the notes, like, this
is Pete, dude. Like, okay, so, and that's during the match, but Butch, we thought it was going to be either Sheamus or Tyler Bate, and it was Tyler Bate who's been brought up to the roster.
Yeah, I was glad.
After a little bit, man, they looked great together.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I say Pete Dunne is on his way in and Butch is on his way out, Corey Graves mentioned on commentary that Butch is having an identity crisis. He doesn't just say that shit unless, they're hinting at maybe dropping the moniker of Butch. At least in my opinion. I feel like sometimes everything's said for a reason.
I mean, it's
the way he wrestles, I mean, everything. Like, he's not like... Butch originally, if you remember, was kind of booked like a wild animal man, like a feral guy. And
that's how Vince saw him.
And now he's like talking backstage, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's an actual character now.
But Rich Holland is in NXT. Pete Dunne's by himself, and if they want to keep him paired with Tyler Bate, to give Pete Dunne some TV time and Tyler Bate TV time, I think they could be an amazing team together.
I think so. Yeah.
But the main event I was really looking forward to. And it was good. I didn't expect what to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm down for it.
It's gonna be a great match.
So the main event of SmackDown was AJ versus Randy Orton, or I should say AJ Styles versus Randy Orton versus LA Knight. It ended in a no contest, which I got some questions, as you see on my notes, Jeremy. But, so the Bloodline would come out towards the end of the match and basically just do finishers to all three men. But why did it end in no contest? Was it TV time? There's no DQ in a triple threat, so like, how does it just end?
I know. That was the point that I always forget about in triple threats. There's no DQ, so
there's no DQ, so like,
it doesn't matter.
It had to be TV time. It had to be like, that's their reasoning. So yeah, the Bloodline destroyed everyone, but up until they came out, I mean, I thought it was a really good match.
Yeah.
I thought everyone shined a little bit.
I just think Randy, since coming back, looks so much better. Like, I mean, obviously, like physically, because he got like jacked by like 50 pounds of muscle, but like just his wrestling, I feel like it's like it was already smooth, but it feels so much smoother and just the flow of him wrestling now.
Oh, him and AJ are fucking jacked. This run for both of them. Maybe he's just in better shape, dude. I don't know. AJ posted a picture today, and it was like a sauna and then an ice bath. He's like, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. I was like, all right, get it, dude. You fucking 40-something, whatever.
I know, it's crazy. And also sorry, go ahead. Yeah, finish this because I was going to say something afterwards.
Oh, I was just going to say something like LA Knight countered the RKO with his BFT. And after this, though, Styles stopped the referee, Charles Robinson's count. I think my voice just cracked. But really, like, during this whole time, I mean, going into it, I would say that Randy was going to win. And then as it's going, I'm like, this could be anyone as the match was going on.
Yeah.
There's many times that, they fooled me. Another thing, AJ Styles attacked, LA Knight attacked the bloody forehead of LA Knight, who ended up getting busted open in this match. And also, Orton delivered an RKO to AJ Styles, who springboarded off the ropes, but LA Knight would narrowly break up the count. So, do you want to talk about what was said by Nick Aldis?
Yeah, which I thought was also an interesting thing that they did it this way, like not with a mic or anything like this. So Nick Aldis
they didn't just randomly announce it on Instagram.
Yeah,
like they do.
It's like Nick Aldis tells Paul Heyman it's going to be a fatal four-way at the Rumble. It's for the title, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he goes up to Paul Heyman and he said, basically, since Roman did this, you can let Roman know that he's found himself into a fatal four-way at the Royal.
And this is all just picked up from the camera on the mic, or the mic on the camera.
Yeah, because they started talking. I was like, I really can't hear, and then it then it got picked up.
Yeah, which I thought was like just weird.
So far, what do you think WWE wise? because they were both like mini pay-per-view shows. SmackDown better than Raw this week, or was Day One better than?
I mean,
Raw had The Rock.
I know.
Raw had that head of the table comment, man.
Yeah, but for me,
I think SmackDown might be better.
Yeah, I was gonna say SmackDown just because I think the wrestling was better. Like they have better matches.
Usually is.
Raw was, huh?
Usually is. SmackDown's always been like the more wrestling show.
Yeah, the more wrestling focusing. I guess that's the one that I like more because of that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like The Rock, the moment between the two shows is The Rock coming back.
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna pick one moment out of all the shows over the week, it's The Rock teasing wrestling Roman Reigns, because it's for wrestling fans I've been keeping up with, man. It's finally like there's been teases, but it's finally like almost confirmation. You know,
it's been like what 3 years almost.
Yeah, and then like 1 year it was like, oh, it could have happened, but The Rock's movie schedule.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that I thought was great.
Yeah.
But anything to add to SmackDown before we wrap up with Collision?
No. I was just gonna say, I think I didn't realize. I always forget how old LA Knight is right now. Like he's 40, right, or 40 something.
Yeah. How old is he?
Just because I was looking at like the combined age for this match, the Fatal 4-Way, is like 100 and like.
So AJ's 46. AJ might be the oldest.
What's Randy?
Randy is 43.
I thought Randy was older than that.
LA Knight is 41. Yeah,
that's crazy.
AJ said this is his last contract. He's like, I think this is the last one I signed with.
Yeah.
Like,
and then Roman is...
And then Roman, if Roman's around,
the youngest,
right? He's 38.
Yeah. They're all right around the
around their 40s, man.
Around 40.
80, if you round up, like we were taught in school, AJ is closer to 50.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is my thing. I think AJ then takes the pin.
I think so, yeah.
To protect Knight.
Yeah, I don't want LA Knight taking the pin.
I want them to change AJ's fucking music. I don't think it serves his or matches his persona right now.
It doesn't anymore.
I want the evil ways. Give me the TNA evil ways. So, unless it's intellectual property, then you can't do anything about it.
You know what's funny? I remember like during COVID, I think it was Xavier Woods distracted AJ with the trombone by playing that song.
Really? I gotta look. I don't remember.
Yeah, he was like playing the tune of it.
Oh,
and they didn't realize it.
I gotta look it up. I'm sure there's a video out there. Let's wrap up with Collision. Not too much to talk about, I want to say, in my opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't too much, yeah.
But so we talked about Trent Beretta earning his shot, and so I believe it was the opening contest of Collision, and Eddie Kingston would retain Continental Crown Championship against Trent Beretta.
Yeah.
Adam Copeland had a segment, kind of to address what happened at the pay-per-view. And he said that Christian had told him that he needs to get in the back of the line. And he would say, since I did win the title, though, I mean, this is an old rule that kind of went away in WWE. But, like, if you lose the title, you usually get a rematch. I mean, pay-per-views back in the day, during the Ruthless Aggression era, pay-per-views were filled with just rematches of, like, the last pay-per-view.
Yeah, they were. Like, Backlash? Backlash used
that was
to be
the whole
like
point
rematches.
of Backlash.
It
was usually WrestleMania 2.0.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I remember the Backlash after WrestleMania 20, it again was Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, and Triple H.
Yeah, that's crazy. Except it just wasn't as good as WrestleMania.
No. And then, so during this, I guess he called out, anyone in the back to... He said, well, he's like, if I do have to get in line, he's like, I'll call out anyone in the back. And
what did he call it? He called it Cope Open or whatever, and I was like, that's not going to stick.
Copeland Open or something?
Yeah.
Is that what he called it? Out comes, God, I mean, I forgot he was even there. Griff Garrison, I haven't seen him since he was a cheerleader with, I guess you can call him Lexus King now.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's his name now?
Now I'm like Brian Pillman Jr. and Julia Hart. When you haven't seen them since they sprayed her with the mist and like changed.
Yeah.
So he came
somehow
out.
Julia Hart's the most
successful
out of those three.
Yeah, there was like a debate I saw about that, and it's like you can debate her or Lexis King because Lexis King is in WWE, which is the bigger company. But then again, Julia Hart is a champion on national TV. I mean, it's not Griff Garrison. I can tell you that much. It's not.
It's definitely not.
But okay, so I had a question. Why the hell is Maria Kanellis? I don't remember the other guy's name with them. It was three people. It was Griff Garrison, Maria Kanellis, and this other guy. Yeah. Why is she with them? Like, her husband is literally in Undisputed Kingdom. Why wouldn't you just have her? She's always been with him in like every other company.
And she was with him in the beginning when they signed in AEW too.
When the Kingdom like came out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. She's always great every time she's out there on the side. It's like
she is, yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but you know why this match also happened is because Adam Copeland really wanted to work with Griff Garrison.
Really? Are you joking?
He said that on a podcast. He was like, "You know who's in back? Who I want to face?" And then he was like, "Griff Garrison." I was like, "What?"
All right. Well, dream achieved, Adam Copeland. I guess. Check that off your bucket list. If anything, it should be Griff Garrison's dream to work with you.
I know. He said, like, Adam Copeland said he would want him in, like, a faction or something with him.
God, terrible ideas.
It's like, okay.
Whatever.
I don't know about that.
So, yeah, Adam Copeland shockingly defeated Griff Garrison. But I'm sure, you know, he made Griff look good.
Yeah.
Main event, FTR defeating the House of Black. And when I say House of Black, I just mean Buddy Matthews and I was about to call him Alistair. Malachi Black. Towards the end of the match, Brody King would walk down the ramp, but I don't know why. But Daniel Garcia ran down and attacked Brody King to help out. But FTR would end up winning. But after the match, House of Black, including Brody King, would beat down FTR and Daniel Garcia.
I thought the match itself was really good.
And then Dax's wife and daughter were watching.
Yeah.
And Malachi was kind of playing into that, basically being like, I'm beating up your dad.
Yeah. I don't really like that actor match brawl to get the heat back on the heels like that. Because it just doesn't.
Why was Daniel Garcia with FTR? Did I miss something?
I think
was it just because of
Brody
King? Okay.
Yeah. And also after Collision, I saw this one video. FTR was doing like the go home like speech or whatever to the crowd, and Daniel Garcia was about to do his dance, and he made FTR do it, and Dax is like, he's like, I better not see this on fucking YouTube, because he was about to do the dance, and then it's like posted everywhere now.
Someone else was doing the dance with Daniel Garcia though. Who did I see do it recently?
Well, it was Prince Nana and Dynamite. They had like a little dance-off thing.
Yeah, no, but I thought.
Did he make someone else do it?
Did someone do it at the pay-per-view with Daniel Garcia? Like after they won? Like did Danielson do it or like?
Someone did, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I think someone did it recently. Like that doesn't do it.
Yeah. I also remember when Tony Khan did it afterwards, something, and it was just like the worst you've ever seen.
Of course it was. It doesn't surprise me at all.
There's like no coordination.
Well, do you have anything to add before we get out of here?
No. I mean, that was a good week of wrestling for a start off the year.
I will say our TikTok, I've been now posting on it. So if you're listening, we had trouble trying to get me access to it because Tim normally does it. So what I had to do is make a new account, and we added the word backup to the one we'd been using, but I can't use the PW fan name for like another 2 weeks. So if you're looking for new videos on TikTok for us, it's the PW Fan Pod. And in a few weeks, I'll just change it to the PW Fan. But the old one is just the PW Fan Backup. We're just trying to trick TikTok and trick technology. And this is how we do it because Tim doesn't remember his passwords. So I write everything down. I write all my passwords down in like my little notes app.
And he keeps track of everything.
So if you ever steal my phone, you'll have access to everything. But that being said, I am not Tim, so I do not have a classic show of the week. Unless, Jeremy, you can think of one super quick. But I'm like, I don't remember what Tim's already said and hasn't said.
I know, that's what I was going to say. I don't know.
When I think of classic shows, I think I go straight to a Ruthless Aggression era, and I feel like Tim's gone through like all of those.
He's gone through so many of those, yeah. That's what I was into.
I'm going to leave it to the pro next week. But as of now, I feel like I've said this a lot. All three of us should be back next week. So, yes, follow us all on all social media at the PW Fan, except for TikTok, which is at the PW Fan Pod, temporarily. And thank you for listening and sticking with us for episode 113.